talking about this topic because everybody can relate to trauma. We all have it. Big T trauma, little t trauma, childhood trauma, generational trauma, and it affects us all in different ways, and it's subjective. The same thing might affect one person differently than it affects the next person. So I don't like to compare and contrast different people's trauma, my trauma. Most people look at me and they think the biggest trauma in my life is pretty abundant and clear, that I'm missing a leg. Well, I got news for you. It's not. It's just a symptom of the trauma that I dealt with in my life. So I'm going to take you through a little walk of my life, and I want this to be interactive. I don't want to be talking at you. I want to be talking with you. Fair enough? So when you hear a part of my story that you deem as trauma, I just want you to raise your hand. I want to see if our definitions are the same, or maybe I see something that I didn't see in my life that you guys see. So before I was even growing up, I had generational trauma. My mother, my father, they both dealt with physical, mental, emotional, sexual abuse on both sides of the family. Thank you for participating. I love that. She was listening. So the second thing is, when I was born, my parents weren't even together. Divorce. So no, all right, now we're catching on. I love it. Yeah, so I don't even remember my testing. Are you on? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
All right, good. That's crazy. I'm not doing that. I'm not playing that game.
This is better actually,
Oh,
right?
beautiful. Excellent.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Maybe it's just my voice. So, I don't even remember my mother and father together, which is a problem, as we all realize. As early as I remember, my mother was me and my mom by ourselves, and my dad was in the picture, but he was also doing his thing. I seen him once or twice a month. The earliest memories that I have was me moving into my stepfather's house. Now, he had 2 sons. Unfortunately, at 2 years old, the son that was my age got attacked by a wolf.
That's trauma.
That's big T trauma, right? Yeah, that's a big T trauma. Getting attacked by a wolf is something that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. No less a 2-year-old, right? And I couldn't imagine what that imprint was on in his heart, in his mind, in his psyche. Having to go through that at 2 years old. Well, guess what? This wolf completely ripped off his scalp, tore his face apart through scars, and ripped his ear clean off. This is how this little boy had to walk around from 2 years old. And I can't imagine the violence and the aggression that he had imprinted in his mind. And I think my good friend over here, Sang Hoon, said, hurt people, right? Yeah. Now, as a 2-year-old boy, I didn't understand this. I was just thinking that he was being mean to me because I was half his size. But looking back as an adult, I understand that he was going through a hell and a torture that I could have never imagined at that age. Yeah, I was going through my parents not being around. Yeah, I was going through my own stuff, my own generational curses, but I couldn't imagine being attacked by a wolf at 2. I don't think any of us can even imagine that for our kids or for our family members, anybody we know. So I had to grow up in this household, and because he went through this trauma, his father and everyone in the family wanted to catch him before he fell, baby him. Nothing was his fault. He couldn't do wrong. He was walking on water for all everybody cared. He would steal my food off my plate. Boom, that's my steak. He'd take my food. He'd take my toys. He'd rip things apart. He'd say things like, nobody loves you. You and your mother don't belong here. Go away. You're not part of the family. I would get stuffed in closets, in side rooms, pushed away. And as a very young kid, I didn't feel loved. I felt unwanted. I never felt good enough. I didn't feel special. I didn't feel a part of anything. And I remember as early as 5 years old, being suicidal. Telling my mother that I wanted to die. And unfortunately at that time, I didn't realize, I thought they were full-grown adults. My mother, father, stepbrother, they were in their mid-20s. Those are not adults. I thought they had it all figured out, but unfortunately they went through their own thing. So they were drinking heavily and dealing with their own stuff. Drinking, drugs, all the things, right? Trauma that they were dealing with in their lives. But unfortunately, as a kid, as that being my stability, it wasn't that stable. Now, my family and my parents were amazing, and I don't want to take anything away from them. I was so blessed. I was raised with 4 parents, 2 moms and 2 dads. But they were doing their best in their 20s. And it involved alcohol. It involved a lot of fighting, a lot of screaming, a lot of physical-ish altercations that I would overhear as a kid. Not thinking that I belonged, that my father didn't want me, that my mother was just some helpless girl that just moved into this person's house, and at any minute we can be kicked out on the streets. And it happened multiple times. I didn't feel comfortable, I didn't feel secure, I didn't have anything. And when I told my mother that I wanted to die, she said, "Don't you say that." I said, oh, that's a bad thing to say. I won't say it. I don't want to die. But I felt it. And I buried it in deep inside. And my brother used to, because he was hurting, I used to run from him because he was twice my size. And he'd beat me up every chance he got. I felt terrified of this kid. He would chase me up trees to the tippity top. I don't know if you ever got to the top of a tree, but I'm waving in the top on the crown of the tree. Just about, the tree's about to break in half, and I'm just swaying. And he's pelting rocks at me, trying to knock me out of the tree. 20, 30 feet in the air. But it was the only place that I could escape, because he couldn't climb like me. So I spent most of my childhood in the top of a tree, swinging back and forth like rock-a-my baby on the treetops. That was me. That was my safe place, was the top of a tree. And I remember spending most of my childhood in a tree, on a rooftop, wherever I can get away. Now, I used to see my father on the weekends and my stepmother and my brother, and that's when I went over there, I felt like a king. But it didn't last. I'd have to get back to my regular life, feeling like I was an outsider, that I didn't belong throughout the time. And I remember at 8 or 9 years old, first time that I had the full sense of hope and safety, the brother that used to physically, mentally, emotionally abuse me, and even some instances of sexual abuse. Somebody in my family had to deal with that. I don't really like to talk about that too much, but I want to let you know, I know. For everybody that's been out there, that experienced that, I know. About 8, 9 years old, I got introduced to weed and alcohol. And it was the first time in my life that I felt comfortable, that I felt secure, that I felt safe. It was like putting on a mask. I felt like a different person. It's like when I took a sip of that alcohol, I had my Superman cape on. When I took a hit of that weed, I shot up into a whole nother identity. And this was the crutch that I used throughout my whole childhood. I forgot, I kind of put these slides together. Go to the next slide. I don't remember, I did this last night. That's me right there, my cousin Jimmy. And I'll go into that in a minute. But through middle school, through elementary school, I got picked on every single day. My stepbrother was the king of that movement, making sure I felt little, making I thought I wasn't important. Even the girls in my class used to beat me up. And I was afraid to fight back because I didn't know what the consequences were. There was so much violence in my house. There was beatings, there was yelling, there was screaming. I didn't feel safe. I was afraid to get in trouble at school. So I let girls my size beat me up and do things to me, and the kids in my class pick on me. And I just thought that I had to accept that. This went through middle school, and something happened in high school, actually the summer going into high school. This angel of a person is my cousin Jimmy. We had the same birthday. He's 4 years older than me. And he was a stud. He had all the friends, all the popularity, all the skills that I did not have. But that was my cousin. And he used to take me under his wing. He's like, "Kevin, I got you." Now, in middle school, I had freckles, I had acne all over my face, I had braces, I had a flat top. Anybody ever play the game Street Fighter? Well, there's a guy, Guile, that has a flat top. I have the same exact haircut. I thought I was the coolest thing in the world. Wrong, I was not. I thought it was cool. Nobody else did. Whatever. And going into high school, I got my braces off. The acne fell straight off my face. And my cousin Jimmy, bless his heart, cut my hair and gave me a nice crisp fade and gave me a little silver dragon chain and went out and helped me pick out my outfits. And then I went into high school as the new cool kid. Even the girls that used to make fun of me were like, who's that boy? La 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 la. Completely different identity. I went from the bottom of the barrel to all the people who used to make fun of me and laugh at me and think I was nothing, to the cool kid that played baseball and football in the honors class. That got to me. The pride, the ego that got to me changed my whole perspective. Now I'm out there hanging out with the cool kids, smoking and everything, but I realize I'm only 14 years old. I don't have enough money to live this life that I want to live, smoking and drinking and everything. So my friend introduced me, oh, you could sell some pot and maybe you'll be able to do it. So it started as me just being able to smoke for free and drink for free, but it became way bigger than that. I became the Tony Montana of my high school. I had more money than I can count. I had more friends that I could say hello to. And I was invited to every single party, every single event. And I was the guy. I was the connect. I was the quote unquote, the kids call the plug. The girls wanted to hang out with me. The guys wanted to be my best friend. And it really got to me. And I never forget when things really, really changed. When I was in freshman year, somebody that I highly, highly respect, I was at their house. Love this person with all my heart. And they went out of the house and they had a safe. And they left the safe open. And I was a curious little George. My mom used to call me Curious George. I don't know if anybody knows who that is. The little monkey in the cartoons. That was me. So he left the safe open and I looked and it was the first time I seen a kilo of cocaine, a brick, and a gun, and stacks of hundreds to the top of the safe. I was like, wow, this guy's cool. Let me check this out. Chopped off a block with a steak knife, put it in a baggie, rolled it over with a battery, and then I took my first hit of cocaine and it numbed my entire face and I was addicted in that moment. This went through high school. I started getting introduced to harder, stronger things. Harder, stronger things like ecstasy and mushrooms and everything you can think of. Now the door's flooded wide open and I'm trying everything. I'm still trying to make myself feel cool, make myself feel wanted, loved, connected. The things that I craved my whole life. But what I was really craving, and I had no idea, was a connection with God. At this age, I was an atheist. I thought this world was a cruel place, that this gray cloud followed me everywhere I go, that there can't be a God because if there was a God, he wouldn't let these things happen. But I was just misinformed, misdirected, a victim of my circumstance. I started high school in the honors class, but as I started doing drugs, my grades started plummeting until I graduated by the skin of my teeth. I remember one day during a baseball game, I had a seizure from doing drugs all night, and nobody knew. I had a seizure in front of everybody in school, almost died. I was in denial. I didn't believe it. I said, I can take care of this. I'm good. When I graduated high school by the skin of my teeth, watched my friends and friends go to their dream schools of their favorite school that they wanted to go to, and I had to stay home and go to a city college, I felt kind of bummed out. Kind of felt left out once again. And unfortunately, what made it even worse, at 18 years old, I got hit by a bus. Thought the life was rough enough before this. 18 years old, my life's about to start. I got hit by a bus. I injured my neck and my back. And the doctors put me on painkillers. And we know where this is going. Now, at the time, it seemed like the perfect answer. I was like, oh, I take these pills, I feel like Superman, I have no pain, I can run around, plus I get a killer buzz at the same time. But nobody told me how addictive they were. And this was about 2005 when they didn't even tell you. There was no warning label, like don't do this or you're gonna be addicted and do it, trade your whole life for it. It was a miracle drug. Everybody was taking Percocet. Everyone was taking Vicodin. Until the day that I didn't have a pill. And I woke up sick. This is when I knew the hooks were in me. There was nothing I could do about it. If I didn't have my pills in the morning, I was sick as a dog. It was the first thing and the last thing that I had to figure out every single day of my life from this point. I was trapped. I got in trouble. I started selling. I got arrested. My friend that was working for me ratted me out. I got arrested by the same cops twice. We're not going to get into that story, but I was facing years in prison. Thank God I hired a really expensive lawyer, but then I got into debt with the people that I was selling for. Now they wanted to kill me. Now there was a hit on me. I was terrified. I didn't know what to do. And on top of that, I'm a drug addict. So I'm not making logical decisions anyway. My father winded up helping this situation, getting me out of the problems. He got me into the union. He said, stop selling drugs. I will get you into a concrete laborers union building high-rises in Manhattan. I said, thank you so much, Dad. You're amazing. I love you. I was like, I won't do drugs anymore. Fingers crossed. Because I didn't have any choice. I had to take them. So now I'm taking pills just so I can go to work, just so I can afford my pills. Now I'm in an even vicious cycle. I can't get out. Spending $1,000 a week just so I can go to work, just so I can afford my pills. I'm building 40, 50-story skyscrapers high as a kite, hanging off the building like this, like a madman. I was amazing at my job, but it got so bad that I was unhireable because I was such a hazard. They're like, Kevin, you're freaking awesome at your job, but dude, you are a problem. Every time I look at you, you're hanging off the building, you're running full speed into a wall, like, what's going on? It got to the point where I was completely unhireable. I ended up losing my job, losing my girlfriend, losing my friends, losing every ounce of dignity and self-respect I ever had. Before I knew it, I was homeless. I had nothing. I didn't have any friends left. They were all gone. The people that I was dating gave up on me. All the money in my account was gone. I had no car, had no apartment. I'm 25 years old. I'm like, oh, I'm depressed again. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how I got here. This world sucks. All this, if this God exists, where is he? He was going to move in my life, but I didn't know exactly how. So at 25 years old, I moved back in with my father. He let me stay for about 6 months until he realized how bad I was. He said, Kev, you got a problem. I said, I don't have a problem. I'm tired. Showing me pictures of me nodding out on the couch. Like, I'm just tired, Dad. Stop it. One day, they tried to perform an unprofessional intervention. They woke me up 7 o'clock in the morning and said, boom, 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 Kevin, get up. I'm like wiping the sweat off, sleep out of my eye. I'm like, what's going on? I walk into the living room, and there's my mother, my father, my brother, my aunt, they're all out there. I'm like, oh, here we go. I've seen this on TV before. This is not going to go good. So they say, Kevin, you need to go to a program right now for 2 years where you got to get out of the house. First off, I'm pissed off. I don't wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning, no less to do an intervention. So I'm like, who do these people think they are? I'm going to show them. I said, to heck with you. That's not the words that I used, but I'm using verbatim. I said, to heck with you guys. I don't need you. You want me to go to a program or leave? I'm leaving. I thought I was showing them. I went into my room. I packed up a book bag. I put a few shorts in it, a few shirts, a pair of sneakers. Forgot my toothbrush, forgot anything. And then I grabbed my safe and I threw it on my shoulder. And I said, hasta la vista, baby. And I kicked the door open. Boom. And I walked out of that house all prideful. The second I got around the corner, I started bawling out crying. Hysterical crying. This is in New York in the middle of November in the freezing cold. And I'm in a tank top and shorts, crying. I must have looked like a crazy person that just stole a safe. I'm sitting here with tears running down my face with a safe at 7:30 in the morning. Like, what's going on in this guy's life? I'm not having that bad of a day. This guy, I must have made a lot of people feel grateful about their lives at that moment because this was rock bottom, dude. So I walked about a half a mile in the freezing cold to my best friend's house, which if you could even imagine, was worse than me. Imagine that. I get to his house, I tell his mother, my father and mother hate me, they're being unfair, they kicked me out, I got nowhere to live. She said, sweetie, you could stay here as long as you want. You're a doll. I said, haha, manipulation 101. I'm good at this. And anybody that lives with an addict, you know how manipulative they can be. And I was in the depths of this. So I'm like, oh man, I got a place to live. She cooked me a bowl of macaroni and cheese. Well, I don't know if you cook macaroni and cheese. She heated it up in the microwave. But it was delicious because I thought I was not where I was going to be. I ate that bowl of macaroni and cheese, and it should have been the last meal of my life. Excuse me. It should have been the last meal of my life because everybody woke up that morning except for me. They found me face first in my vomit, blue, completely unresponsive. Now this is going to show you how dark and deep addiction can get. As I'm dying on the floor in my best friend's house, his little sister calls the cops. Now my friend is addicted. And as I'm dying on his floor, his first thought was like, let me check his pockets for money and drugs because he doesn't need them anymore. That's how deep addiction gets. He was the prom king of my high school. I remember when I went to his funeral, God rest his soul, there was only 5 people there. He went from prom king to nobody at his funeral. That addict in your life that you're talking to is not him, not her. It literally steals your soul. That's why I'm on the mission that I'm at. So I'm on the floor dying. They race me to the hospital. In the ambulance, my heart stops. They revive me. They get me back. And I spend the next 3 weeks in a coma in the ICU fighting for my life. Now, this sounds bad, but let me give you a little silver lining. This was the greatest thing that ever happened to me in my entire life, and you're going to learn why. So in that coma, in that 3 weeks, I was told that I flatlined 3 times. It got so bad, they had a priest come in and read me my last rites. Nothing short of a miracle, by the grace of God, while all my friends are lining up to say their goodbyes, and they're about to pull the plug. I just woke up. But when I woke up, I didn't wake up healed. I had multi-organ failure. My liver, kidneys, lungs, heart, brain completely shut down. 20% oxygen to my brain. I had a fever topping out at 108. My brain was frying. They had me under ice blankets. They couldn't get it down. I had sepsis of the blood. My liver and kidneys weren't filtering my blood. They put me on pressors to keep the blood to my organs so I wouldn't die. I was on 24-hour dialysis. I had gangrene in all 4 of my limbs. They were completely black. I was 100 pounds soaking wet. I had tubes in my throat, tubes in my lungs, tubes in every orifice you can imagine. I couldn't even tell my mother that I was sorry. And I can't tell you the pain that I felt when I had to look at my mom in her eyes and see the damage that I did to her. It looked like she aged 10 years since the last time that I seen her. It was the most guilt and shame I ever felt in my whole life. But the good news is, when I went into that coma, I didn't believe in God. When I came out, I undoubtedly knew God existed and that he loved me and that he saved me and he snatched me out of the depths of hell. And he said, you can't have this one. I'm not done with him yet. Thank you. That's probably the biggest clap in my whole entire life. So I appreciate you guys seeing that. Oh man, I don't know where I would be if that moment didn't happen. So I remember waking up and it was the first time that I knew God existed. I have tubes in my throat. I can't even tell my mom I'm sorry. I said, God, I'm mouthing this. I'm just going to say it so you can hear it. I'm like, God, thank you so much. I know you're there. I'm so sorry for all the things that I did, all the doubt. Please just give me a second chance. If you do, I'll make a difference in this world. If you do, I'll make a change in my life. Just give me one more chance. For weeks on end, I didn't get no response. Doesn't that happen to us? You know, you're praying to God, you're waiting for a response. You're like, God, why don't you hear me? You're like, and you think, you're like, in my time. No, it's in God's time. He hears you. He's answering those prayers. Maybe not in the way that you want it answered, but he's answering them. 2 weeks went on, no answer. And then finally the doctor comes in and says, I have some good news and bad news. The good news is, I think you're going to make it. The bad news is, we're going to have to take your leg tonight or you're going to die. They had me on so many painkillers in that hospital. I was like, let's take that leg. All my bad luck was in that foot anyway. No, they weren't joking. They were really taking my leg. And I would learn that the next day that I woke up and the nurses picked up the sheets and I had a stump for a leg. And every emotion you could possibly think of went through my mind. Oh my God, this is real. This is not a joke. This is not a dream. This is real. What am I going to do for the rest of my life? What kind of girl is going to want to marry me when there are billions of men walking around with 2 legs? I found her. That's the crazy girl. I didn't know who I was. I thought I was a sports person. I was an athlete. I was like, what kind of man? I'm half the man I used to be. I couldn't even move my hand. I was 100 pounds soaking wet. Didn't know what to do. But you know what? God did answer my prayer. He gave me a second chance. It took me 4 months to get out of that hospital. I had to learn how to walk again, talk again, eat again, breathe again, drink again, like it was the very first time. Now, although all those physical things were hard, there was so much more battle to happen, so much more trauma to go through. When I got out of the hospital, the prosthesis said, you're in bad shape. It's going to take you 2 years to learn how to walk again. Man, when I heard that, I rolled out of that office about as fast as you can in a wheelchair. Like, I'm going to show him. And then I came back 2 weeks later, walking completely unassisted on my own 2 feet. The nurses tried to touch me. I said, don't touch me, I'll show you. And I walked. Within 2 months, I was running. Imagine that. A doctor telling you it's going to take 2 years to learn how to walk. And you start running in 2 months. Another miracle that happened to me is I had complete drop wrist of this right hand, and I was a righty. Try to brush your teeth with the other hand. They told me I was never going to be able to move this hand again. And on top of that, I couldn't lift this shoulder, so I would take this arm to lift up this hand, to do everything. The neurologist said to me again, you're never going to be able to move your hand again, just get used to it. I said, you don't know the God that I serve. I'll show you. I went home every single day and I talked to my hand like a crazy person. I definitely looked crazy. Staring at it for 9 months straight. We've been doing this our whole lives, just move. I'm not going anywhere until you move. I don't have a job. I got nowhere to do. I'm not in a relationship. It's just me and you. So move. Everybody thought I was losing my mind. My mom's like, whoa, just be grateful you're alive. You know? I'm like, what? I've been moving this hand my whole life. Are you crazy? You know how frustrating that is? Like, that's trauma in itself, like looking down your head. You ever see the movie Kill Bill? She's like, wiggle your big toe. That was me, just with my hand. So for 9 months, nothing happened. I was looking down one day. I'm like, come on, man. Don't make me look dumb. I'm talking to you for 9 months. Let's go. Let's move. One day, looking down, my finger wiggled. I was like, that's all. I forgot that I had slides up here.
Yeah, she's doing
Oh, you're the best. You're an angel. Thank you so much. Totally forgot. I threw this together last night just so you had a visual. Look at me. That's when I was 130 pounds. That's when I graduated from the medical office. It's the only picture I have because this was around Hurricane Sandy and all of them got melted away. So, I went to the hospital. I started using soda cans and gravity to get my hand to start moving again. Now I have about 90% use of my hand. Praise the Lord. You know? But when I got out of the hospital, I had to learn everything all over again. I had to rebuild myself from scratch at 25 years old. The kids that I hung out with are not my friends. I was using drugs. The career that I had, I can't do anymore. The person I thought I was, I'm not anymore. Now I have a new God in my life that I have to search for. I had to literally reinvent myself from scratch. Rock bottom again. But you know what the thing about rock bottom is? Rock bottom is a firm foundation for a come up. It's a firm foundation to propel yourself off like never before. I had two options at this point. I could have wallowed in self-pity, which I did for a few weeks, don't get me wrong, don't get it twisted. Or I could use all this pain, all this struggle, all these issues as rocket fuel to ignite a passion in me like never before. I chose the latter. Now, I had a stepmother that had stage 4 cancer when I was in the hospital. And you wouldn't even know she was sick. She's like, my son is sick. I don't have enough time to be sick right now. My son needs me. She was there every single day working hard, making sure those doctors and nurses took very good care of me. Once I got out of the hospital, she started to decline rapidly. 6 months later, my very next birthday, I'm out with my brother and my father. She dies. But before she dies, we go to the hospital. It's a little hard because of my other stepmother's dying last night. We went to the hospital to say our goodbyes, and she said, you know what? God has been talking to me. And you know, he said that he's gonna use all of this for good. He said, promise me you're gonna use this to help other people that were struggling with what you were struggling with. Because God has a way of turning everything into good. Now, I didn't know God at this time. I was searching for him. I didn't know what she meant by that. She said, promise me. I said, I promise. I'm crying, blubbering. She said, promise me you're gonna write a book. I said, I promise. I mean, I had only written something more than 3 pages at that point, so I feel like I'm lying right now. But I said, I promise I'll write a book. I promise I'll use this. And then she died. Those were her last words to me. Promise me you'll make something out of this. God told me, and promise me you'll write a book. And I never forgot that. And then years went on, and I started living my life, and I thought I wanted to be a doctor and go to school, and I went to school and got my bachelor's in psychology. Didn't want to go I got my minor in biology. I did all the prerequisites, but I realized I didn't want to go to school for 10 years because I'm not crazy, and I didn't want to be 500 grand in debt. And then what happened was all my friends were dying of opioid use. I was going to a funeral a week at this time. It was around 2013, 2012. Everybody I knew was dying. And I got really sad, and I wrote my story to the Staten Island Advance in my hometown. And within 30 minutes, the editor reaches out to me and says, oh my God, this story's amazing. I want to post it on the front page of the Sunday Advance. And I said, sure, no problem. They posted it, it went viral. All these organizations reached out and said, we need you to speak at our event. That was so touching. We need your story. I'm like, I never spoken in my life. I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. But now I had to deliver on this. And my first event that I had to speak at was called a Scared Straight program by the Addictions Angel. And I was the keynote speaker. I didn't even speak in front of classes in school. I was absent that day. So I'm like terrified. I'm like, ooh, I might die tonight. So I brought a crumpled up piece of paper. I have glasses at the time, so I'm blind in this eye. And I go up there, it's my time to shine, and I go up there and I got this crumpled piece of paper and I'm stuttering and I'm shaking, and I get up there and I'm like, my glasses are fogging up. I'm like, I can't even read this thing. And I just can't stop shaking. I'm stuttering, my glasses are fogging. I'm like, I'm gonna die in front of everybody. I got through all that in the hospital, but this is how I'm going out, in front of everybody at the school, in front of 500 people. And God willing, I got through the speech. And I got a standing ovation. Everybody stood up, they clapped, they screamed, they whistled, and like 50 people lined up to meet me. And this was the highest I've ever been in my whole entire life. It was so beautiful. I was like, I should have been doing this the whole time. Doing drugs and alcohol, man, this is where it's at. This is where my needs are met. This is where I feel connected and important and significant and needed and contributing and growing. It was meeting all of my needs. And this is what my stepmother meant by you're going to change people's lives. Because from that point on, I've dedicated my life to helping people overcome mental health issues, addictions. I've helped hundreds and hundreds of people overcome addiction. I got certified as a recovery coach, a life coach, a drug interventionist, a family coach, every certification you could possibly imagine in the addiction and life coaching space. I became a self-development junkie, spent thousands, tens of thousands of dollars on certifications and trainings to become the best person I could be to serve this world. And simultaneously, I was trying to find God. I studied a little Buddhism, I read the Quran, I studied New Age spirituality, Native American practices, praying with shaman and medicine men, doing ayahuasca, praying to the moon and the stars. But let me tell you, every single time I went down one of these roads, Jesus would show up. I'm like, whoa, this Jesus guy's weird. And I would back up. I'm like, this can't be it. I'm gonna go down this road. I don't know what was going on there. And I get down, and then boom, Jesus would show up. I'm like, man, this Jesus guy keeps showing up. And my dad was Catholic growing up, and the church that we went to, there was a lot of controversy. So I just felt like it was very ritualistic. I was like, this can't be it. It can't be the God of the Bible. It's folk stories. It's nonsense. And my friend asked me to go to a Christian church once. He kept telling me, yeah, come. I was like, yeah, I'll come. I kept telling him. He asked me like 50 times. I'm like, you know what? I'm going there to tell the pastor why he's wrong and I'm right, and this is all nonsense. And I brought my mom for backup because I was scared. Tough lady. So I went there, and that day, so happened to be, they were going over the book of John, chapter 3. And we all know how that went. Me blubbering in the pew with my hand up saying, I want to give my life to Jesus. And my life has been transformed ever since then. God has been using me in miraculous ways. In fact, after that, I wrote a best-selling book called Winning Against All. That's me climbing a mountain in Sedona. Unassisted. I definitely missed it with this slideshow, but she's doing amazing. Thank you so much. I forgot even what I put up there. But yeah, I climb mountains with one leg. I'll tell you, that Cathedral Rock, I'm climbing up the mountain, and there are people like camped out on the side of the mountain giving up, and then they see me chugging along with one leg. They're like, oh, this guy again. And then I get up to the summit, and on my way down, like, because of you, I had to keep on going. Because of you, I tried one more time. I can't tell you how many times I'm at the gym doing squats or leg presses or running or boxing, hitting the bag. And people come up to me and be like, man, I was really tired and I had all the excuses why I wanted to go to the gym. I didn't want to go to the gym and I wanted to leave. And then I see you across the room just going ham. And I said, if he doesn't have an excuse, what's mine? See, I had every excuse in the whole entire world to give up. Every single excuse to quit. The enemy's been trying to get me since I was a little kid. And a few times he almost won. Struggled with alcohol addiction, drug addiction, sex addiction, impulsive thoughts, all kinds of everything you can possibly imagine. So I can relate if you're going through it, man. I went through the whole entire gauntlet. But what I learned is God uses everything for good. There's always two sides of the coin. And it's our job to find the meaning and beauty in every single moment. God puts us through struggles so we can be stronger for the next chapter of our life. The number 40 in the Bible is pretty amazing. It's always about preparation. I'm going to be 40 in October 2nd. And I truly believe God has been preparing me for what's coming out around my 40th birthday. Because I went through so much pain, so much struggle, so many times that I was like, I can't make it through here. But you know who's carrying me? You know who's welcoming me? God, the Holy Spirit. Jesus Christ has been with me every single step of my life. And I know that I owe him my heart, my body, and my soul. And I want to glorify God in everything that I do. I'm not perfect. I mess up. I got anger problems. I'm frustrated. I got no patience. I'm still learning how to be married. But I love. I care about people very much. And I know God has put an anointing on my life to touch people, to empower them, and to make a difference in this world. I'm out here in Arizona, moving here from New York. I met my wife. I'll give her a little shout out. I drove across the country to open a detox center. I thought I was going to open this multi-million-dollar detox collaboration with my friends. Didn't work out with them, but God had me drive across the country to meet this beautiful lady. Let's give her a round of applause. It's my wife, Ashley. And I seen her immediately. I bought a ring in 2 weeks, married her in 2 months, and then I kidnapped her and brought her to the desert out here in Arizona about a year and a half ago. And we're planting our flag out here. We're going to make a life. We're going to make an impact. We're looking for our tribe. We're looking for our people. And we're looking for a way that we can change the world in a better way. And I'm going to leave you with this, man. Don't try to define the miracles in your life. Let the miracles define you. And I just want to let you know, and I'm on the last slide right here, if you scan that QR code and just leave some input how I did, what's going on, because I'm looking to start speaking in the Arizona area and start connecting with the right people. I want to make this a career because I have so many messages that I want to share, and I want to make it my full-time job. If you could leave some information, some feedback, I would love that. I'll even gift you a copy of my book, Winning Against All Odds. I have some paperbacks in the car. I have a digital copy. Please, if you get the digital copy, I'll send it to you. Give it to everybody for free. I'm not trying to make any money. There's some messages in there that people need to hear, and I need you guys to spread it. And it's on Audible if you don't like to read. And one day it will be a movie. Looking for that producer and that thing. But thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Sanghoon. I really appreciate being here. It was an honor and privilege to be a part of you, to meet you. Thank you, Trey, for introducing me to him. And God bless every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you.